All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. You ready for this? Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready or not. Oh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. It's close enough to 5 o'clock. All right. You ready? 3, 2, 1, yo! That's the wrong camera. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pig Trail Network live show. This one will have to be relatively short. I know I say that all the time, but I really need to try to keep this thing as short as humanly possible, if that is at all possible here on the PTN. One of my neighbors is revving his engine 10 feet from my house. That sounds wonderful. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Sounds like a really angry bee. Wee. Okay. Drinking the White Claw Black Cherry. That's right. I'm sticking with the White Claw, you guys. I'm sticking with it. It's not that bad. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Okay. 5%, by the way. 5%. In case you're wondering. You can see it right there. 5%. All right. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Introducing the man, the myth, the legend, Ty Hudson. Thank you, TTV, your boy Judd. Kevon Pippin. Oh, just chilling, eating some Sonic. Michael Harris, how are you doing? But I'm telling you that strawberry Sprite is fire. Dude, yeah, Sonic drinks in general are just fantastic. I will go there. And look, I was having this debate with my wife the other day. Their cheeseburgers, are actually pretty good. They taste to me like somewhat local burgers, and for a fast food joint to duplicate that taste is quite impressive. All right, we have, oh man, first off, Hog Talk podcast. They had Sully on. They interviewed Mr. Sullivan down in Little Rock. You guys need to check that podcast out. I haven't had a chance to finish the whole thing, but that's awesome. They're able to get him on. Sully, the one and only Sully, they got on, and they were able to interview. So that was cool. Oh yeah, okay. Catron Jackson, we have some news on him. I don't know how you'll feel about it. If you're like me, a part of you just kind of gets a little sick when we talk about the school that's now really trying to recruit him. They've really stepped up their efforts. We're going to talk about that. So we didn't go live on Friday. Landon Rogers recommits, 6'4", what is he, 220-pound quarterback, dual threat quarterback. I want to be clear about something on him. Okay. First off, we have it, and I think we've talked about this here. I get mixed up what I say here and what I've said on the Hog Talk, but if you haven't heard me say it before, I'll say it here now. I think Landon. I think Landon Rogers is capable of being developed into a pretty decent Division I Power 5 quarterback. I think he's capable of that. We were very skeptical early on of his arm mechanics. He was just really raw in that department. Well, I tell you what, these seltzers, they just get you. We were really skeptical of what he could do in the arm department. Right now, I think he's got a cannon for an arm, but there was always something fishy about taking these kids' commitments the day that you offer them, and then he decommits. When was that? July? Was it July 4th? He decommitted, or day before, day after, sometime in early July, and then 3 weeks later he recommits. But I want to be clear on something. We haven't seen film on him since his last season. He hasn't been able to camp. They've not really been able to showcase their talents on a higher level yet. So we're still kind of waiting on that. Let me make sure everything's coming through here. Hang on just a second. Maybe that sound is a little bit better. I don't know why my microphones. I have two different microphones. I have my podcasting microphone and then this microphone. And for whatever reason, my computer has a hard time I guess it just randomly decides to pop the other microphone on when I hit the record button when we do podcast, and when I go live here using my using OBS for whatever reason it pops over, and I just want to make sure all my controls are right. It kind of sucks when you've got to you do all the research, you do everything you can, like, all right, okay, we're gonna have all the information we can have in a live stream, and then you forget to double check your settings on your microphone. So anyways, right now Arkansas, you look at this class. Look, you've got, what are you? You're 27th right now in the country in total in the 2021 class. AJ Green is still your only 4-star according to 247. There are some players to be excited about that are even 3-stars, and there's kids that like Lucas Coley. I think Lucas Coley, not only is he recruiting for Arkansas in this class, but I think he's someone to just keep an eye on. 6'1", 205-pound dual threat quarterback out of Texas. Someone to keep an eye on. Another guy that I've been told that, hey, don't take your eye off of is Marco Avant, the 6'3", 215-pound outside linebacker. I mean, he's already regarded top 50 in that position, and we'll see if we have a regular high school football season, if he gets a jump. They'll do a ranking update before they sign. I'm curious to see if he goes up or down. But I've been told that's someone you need to keep an eye on. Avant is not somebody you want to take lightly. So there's a lot of kids in this class, and obviously Aaron Outley is the one that sticks out the most for me. Aaron Outley, a 6'4", 260-pound tight end who looks, I don't know if and you never really hear this, looking faster than they really are on film. But sometimes that is the case because you have to consider the level of talent they're playing against or the film that they're playing against. Maybe it's a really bad, really slow secondary and they just look quick. But he looks faster than he should be for someone that size. Again, 6'4", 260. Someone do a little research for me. What was Jason Peters' size coming out of high school? And we saw what happened to him. He was a pretty big tight end who ended up being a legend for the Philadelphia Eagles playing left tackle and re-signed with them this year. How many years? He's been in the NFL, I think, as long as good grief. How long has Jason Peters been in the NFL? I've not given that considerable thought. But anyways, it makes you wonder, someone that size that can move like that. Peters could move, and I think that's the edge that he's always had, is he's pretty athletic for someone his size in the NFL level. Aaron Outley is certainly, I think, I'm not saying he's the next Jason Peters, but go watch his film and tell me he doesn't move quick for someone who's 6'4", 260 pounds. They also got a commit last week on the 22nd. I don't think we talked about Cameron Little out of, again, Southmore, Oklahoma. Regarded on, the Coles kicking site as like a pretty highly thought of kicker. I think they have him rated pretty high there. I thought he was like top 5 out of that camp that he went to with the Coles kicking camp. But Cameron Little, I mean, look, I don't want to doubt this staff. I mean, especially when you're being looked at and sought after by Fountain, kicking coach who did wonders at Georgia. I don't want to doubt anyone, but I'm always a little skeptical when you offer a kicker an actual scholarship. And I think they do that in the last class too. So it used to be the thing that you always saw. You'd get a punter and a kicker every year to walk on. Maybe things have changed. I don't know. It just seems like that's starting to become a trend at Arkansas to give kickers scholarships. And look, I'm all about a kid getting his future paid for. I'm all about that. Hey, congrats, man. You more than likely you earned it. But I've been told Cameron Little, again, comparing a high school kicker to what they can do to Division I, that's why it's so difficult to rank kickers out of high school because a position that, number one, it's already hard just to get the starting job, but then number two, to do what you did in high school and for that to translate to the college level. You go from a few thousand eyeballs watching you to now being on national television, 70, 80,000, or in Arkansas's case, 30,000 people in the stands watching you. For some reason, their game doesn't always translate. Their ability to kick doesn't always translate. They're not always as accurate. But Cameron Little congrats to him. He's got a committable offer, and he's committed. Now, scrolling down here, there was something else I wanted to look at in this class really quick before we moved on to the Catron Jackson stuff. I can't remember now. It was on top of my head, and I forgot. Look, I think this class is shaping up pretty good. That's what we were going to talk about. Right now you've got 17 commits. I believe in this class they're taking 24. I believe Kyle Sutherland could speak better to that than I could right now because I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was 25 at first. Now I believe last I had been told was 24. So you got 17 players committed. So, you've got just a few more spots or, 6 or 7 more spots depending on, Catron Jackson if there's any indication that he might commit to Arkansas. So then you add him to that class that puts you at 18 if you get Catron Jackson. We'll talk about him more in just a second. But you're ranked 27th in the country. I was talking in Facebook DMs on, when was that? Saturday, to someone who had asked me the odds of this class being rated somewhere in the top 30. Right now, they're 27th. We know as we continue to move forward to early, I don't know how they're going to handle early signing period this year. I really don't. I don't know if they push it back or cancel it altogether. I think they should. I think early signing period, ESP should be done with anyways permanently. I think it's terrible. It only benefits, the rich get richer in that aspect of college athletics when you have these early signing periods. It's just not, I don't know. I can go on and on about that. But I wonder this year if they cancel it. But let's say we have some level of normalcy when you talk about recruiting and signing periods and everything. By the time February gets here, that first week of February when you typically have your signing day, again, that could be pushed back. I don't know. Do I think at that point, the way this class is scaling, will they finish top 25, top 30? I would say probably not. I'd probably say they're going to be somewhere around 35th or further back. You can calculate. You can use a calculator. You can try to divvy up what prospects they're in on still. They're in, like we mentioned, Catron Jackson. But 247, you're going to have 2, maybe 3 4-stars. Now, a lot can happen. We've talked about that before, how between now and February, so much could happen. Between now and, the start of the season, assuming we have it, and they haven't, we still don't really know what they're going to do. So much could happen between now and the first signing period and the final signing period. But I'm going to say if I were a betting man right now, Arkansas probably, I would say they wouldn't finish top 30. This could change. I hope that it does. If the NCAA allows Sam Pittman, allows these coaches into the homes of these players, you're going to see some other teams. You're going to see some other teams get decommitments. You're going to see some. It's going to get crazy. And it makes you wonder too, moving forward, how does the transfer portal look this time next year? Assuming COVID is completely gone. I wonder what that transfer portal looks like a year from now. Oh, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. And I'm here for it. Well, maybe not, because it could negatively affect Arkansas. Okay, Catron Jackson. Let's move on. Hold on. Actually, I want to read comments, see if you guys are saying anything. Let's see. Yeah, Dion's on the roster. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't think he's on the roster. Without camps and mass travel, a lot of 3-star players will fly under the radar. Many would be 4-stars if they could actually go against the top players on campus. Yeah, I agree with that, Mark. And we talk about that every single live show about how this has just messed everything up. COVID-19 has completely jacked everything up. And it is a shame. And that was something else Kyle and I talked about, how COVID is affecting these kids, too, at smaller schools. Now, very rarely do you get kids. I mean, you look at J.J. Hollingsworth, okay, the kid out of Greenland. He comes from Greenland. It's Greenland. It's Greenland. I'm going to be surprised if more than one of you or two of you even know who their mascot is in chat. Well, I'm sure some of you have Hooten's magazine, so you probably do. But, and I love Greenland. been through there many times. I've had family or friends of mine that lived out past West Fork, so you got to go through Greenland. The police there pulled me over when I was like 17 because I had tire flies on my 1995 Nissan Sentra. I'm just saying, and they were green. I mean, it's Greenland. Whatever. I'm repping your mascot colors there. They are green and green, black, and white. What's up, Jacob Botwinick? How's it going? Eddie Cole, hell yeah. I think it would help transfers. It might. It very well could. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be nuts this time next year, transfer portal. For the next, I'd really love someone to sit down and look at the analytics, compare the numbers of transfers from the 2021 and 2020 classes, just to compare the analytics to see how many of these kids from each of these classes transfer. I'd love to see those numbers because I think it's going to be wild. And it could positively affect Arkansas. I don't know. It could also negatively affect them as well. But anyways, you've got small schools in Arkansas that get overlooked a lot. COVID-19 is not helping the case. And it's really unfortunate. Good for J.J. Hollingsworth and good for some of these other small town kids. I think there were a couple on Hooten's top prospect list. I think there are several small school kids on that list for this 2021 class out of the state of Arkansas. But anyways, it's unfortunate. It is. COVID-19 has just completely screwed up the whole thing, and it's really sad because a lot of these kids, they don't get to camp. They don't get to showcase. Think about if we don't have a football season. We saw 2 Major League Baseball teams. I guess they're putting delays on some games because they were affected by COVID. There's no word. Who was that? The Florida Marlins, and who was the other team? I think there was one other team. Was it Cleveland? There's one other team that got hit, and so they're postponing some of their games. That's how football season will probably go. I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a team, whether it's high school or college, you're going to see someone, the locker room, just get hit with COVID, and it may not even, they may all be asymptomatic, but they'll cancel the season. I can already see that happening. I can see certain districts and certain parts of the state canceling the season. So imagine what kind of effect that's going to have on these small town kids that are trying to go Division I. And by the way, not all these kids believe that they're Razorbacks, right? Like some of them, they just want to get maybe a possibility of UCA, of getting some help, some assistance to go to school, maybe at UCA. Or, you've got a whole bunch of small schools in the state of Arkansas. You get some sort of partial scholarship or whatever. And you're not going to have that opportunity if you don't have a season. And that's what sucks. And these seniors, they can't come back. You can't come back to high school and replay. It's not like college where you get a red shirt, a medical or hardship, whatever, and you could just come back and replay that year. It's not like that. High school, it's over. That's it. And if you think a university, Power 5, Division I or further down, is going to give you a shot at a partial scholarship offer or some sort of scholarship, just based on, well, hey, I'm from, I don't know, I'm from some whatever. Just name a small school in the state of Arkansas. I don't want to say anyone because I know someone's going to get offended, but I'm from small town Arkansas and I was really good in my junior year. Okay, cool. Let's see your game film. And you don't get that opportunity to see their senior game film. They get another year to really showcase their abilities. It's unfortunate, and it's going to affect a lot of kids. And it's not just in Arkansas. Obviously, it's everywhere across the country, but it is too bad. If we have college football without crowds this year, would that work in Arkansas favor with communication since they are implementing a new system on both sides of the ball? Well, not if you're at home. I mean, if you're at home, you want the crowd there, right? You want to swing momentum, and that's the crowd oftentimes will affect the momentum. And Razorback fans too, I think are they know when to get loud. I think Razorback fans, I think we're a high sports IQ state. You look at baseball. Look at what ESPN analysts have said about going to Arkansas baseball games at Baum. And they'll tell you how high IQ the crowd is to baseball. And I think the same thing comes with football. So they know when to get loud. They know when to be quiet. And you don't have that at home, that's a major disadvantage. If they do, and it's gonna really be about what happens to the guys on the field. If they get affected, if they get COVID, what happens? How quickly it spreads, whatever. Can you quarantine just one guy, or do you end up having to quarantine half the team? That's a problem. That's a big problem. And that's why I said a couple shows ago on Hog Talk, I feel like that pendulum is swinging in the direction we don't want it to, because of that fear of COVID spreading on a team, and then once it spreads, it gets out of hand, and now your entire starting defensive roster is infected with COVID. Let's say you've got LSU the next week, they're COVID free. Are they going to want to play you? Are they going to want to travel? Are they going to want to go through all that and then themselves get affected because you are now, your whole team, your whole defensive staff? And then does Arkansas want to play with a bunch of backups with guys whose names you can barely remember? Do you really want to go through a season like that? And that's why I think the pendulum is starting to swing in the other direction. That sucks. I've said for a while what we've needed to have happen is that COVID spike in the other direction and where it's just going away. And it's not happening. It's just not happening. It's unfortunate. As far as the crowd noise, on the road, yeah, it would help. But you've got, 7 home games in Fayetteville this year. Man, that sucks. That sucks. You got 7 home games. Let's move on to the Catron Jackson news really quick. So this isn't necessarily good news. Catron Jackson, 4-star wideout, 6'2", 186 pounds out of Royce City. For the 21 class, he's listed as a top 30 receiver. Again, he's a 4-star. I believe he's a unanimous 4-star. This was from Mike Roach with 247 Horns 247, whatever the name of their site is, and this was a screen cap I had sent to me. Let me pull it up here. I've confirmed that Royce City wide receiver Catron Jackson is on his way to Austin for an independent visit. Jackson is traveling with one of his 7v7 coaches, and I'm told he's excited to check out campus and everything with Texas. I've been told repeatedly that Texas was the dream school for Jackson, but they were behind on offering, and he visited other schools more. There was some thought by those around him that a visit to Austin to see everything could get Texas some momentum. We will see how things go. We know that the lead expert has him favored. I believe it's Gabe Brooks has him favored to TCU, but his recruiting has been interesting. Trey Biddy and Danny West, and now Mike Roach. Mike Roach, who was the most recent crystal ball, gave him an Arkansas prediction with a very low confidence. You can do these confidence points. He gave it a 1 confidence level. TCU has been favored for a little while. Then it was Arkansas. I really don't know. I've said for a while he's being recruited by Kendall Briles and Justin Stepp. I mean, these guys are all over. They want Jackson here. There's no doubt about that. But so does TCU, and now apparently so does Texas. Texas is this is an independent visit too. Keep that in mind. And an independent visit, by the way, means that he can have 0 contact with players and the staff while he's on his visit. Basically, you wander through their facilities. That's got to be the strangest thing, like just wander around without anybody kind of showing you and giving you, whatever questions you have. I don't know if maybe and I don't know if that means 0 contact, like the coach, he can't be on the phone with the coach while he's there. I don't know. I guess that's just part of the dead period rule by the NCAA that just players can't be around the coaches. I think some people saw this coming. I've never heard that Texas was his dream school. That's news to me. But then again, I'm not Mike Roach. Mike Roach is going to know a lot more about the situation than I do. But I've not heard that uttered anywhere around here. So for a while, we were told that TCU and Arkansas were head-to-head and that Arkansas was pulling away, and that, in fact, he was favored to Arkansas for quite some time now. Does this have any impact on his decision? I'm sure that it will. Again, this is a scenario where we need to allow him. If he can go to Texas for one of these, then Arkansas should absolutely, and TCU should absolutely be allowed to do the same. To me, I'm all for giving that kid the opportunity to go through there and look at the facilities and everything in the locker room. But this rule should be applied to other campuses. And I wonder why he hasn't. I don't think he's been to TCU yet since COVID-19. Trying to pull that up and look right now, as a matter of fact. I don't think that he has. He did go to his last unofficial visit, according to 247, was Baylor. March 1st for Junior Day. He attended for the Junior Day, March 1st, 2020. And he went on an official visit before that, November of 2019. So, yeah, let's see. No, he went to Arkansas on March 7th on Junior Day. Catron Jackson attends Junior Day at Arkansas. So he did go. He came here, but I don't think he's been. Yeah, and his most recent offer was from Penn State on June 10th. So I think that now he ought to be given the option to go to TCU and to go to Arkansas. And that's where it's just like, man, this needs to be, the NCAA needs to make up their minds and make a decision as to when these coaches can actually come into physical contact with these players. Because stuff like this, man, like I would love to hear a reaction of him going to Arkansas and checking out these facilities, given the same set of rules. You can't come in contact with anybody. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. I don't know, because they're coming in. Texas has come in. They offered him on March 9th of this year. They offered him. They kind of came in a little bit late on him, and they didn't even, from what I understand, they didn't really make any contact with Ketron until that day. It's not like soft, what they call like soft recruiting, where they're kind of, they're sending out text messages here and there, and they're kind of. From what I understand, there wasn't really any contact between him and Texas. So that's the advantage. Arkansas has been on him. That Stepp and Briles have done their due diligence here with whatever they're allowed to do. But yeah, I would argue now. Well, I don't know if this has any effect or not, because if Texas is late, they're late, and then only he can make up his mind. You gotta think, with no coaches there, without any coaches being present, that had to have some kind of an effect as well. But anyways, I think that's really it. We didn't have a whole lot to talk about. I'm trying to go over my notes here. Oh, August 3rd is the deadline for Isaiah Joe to whether he's take his name out of the NBA draft or not. I'm not gonna go down that I'm not gonna go down that wormhole just yet about Isaiah Joe. That's gonna be a big one. August 3rd. What day is that on? Let's see. Saturday will be the 1st of August. So yeah, you've got until that Monday. No, what did I say? August. What did I say? August what? I said August 3rd, didn't I? Okay, so he's got a few more days after that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, that's going to be a big one. That's going to make for a big Flamingo Friday show when that happens. And let's see what else. Oh, Adriel Bailey recently agreed to a professional overseas contract in Europe with the, I can't even pronounce this name, Orozlani OC Lions. They compete in the Hungary A-League. So for any of you who are curious about what's going on with Adriel Bailey. And Arkansas also offered, I don't remember if we talked about this, but they offered Caden Turner, the linebacker. So that's now 22 kids out of Fayetteville who have received offers from the University of Arkansas. So, again, I think that's going to do it. We've been rolling 30 minutes. That's not too bad. That's about where I'll end it. I'm going to go start dinner, feed the family, and take care of all that. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Remember to like the video, share the content. If you haven't already, feel free to tap the subscribe button. And if there's any more news, I'll try to keep you up to date across social media. And, of course, check out all the links down below, provided for you in the description box, the Hog Talk podcast. July 30th is a big date for the SEC presidents to vote. I didn't know that. Was it July 30th? For some reason, I was thinking it was August. I wasn't going to comment anything. I wasn't going to comment. Eddie Cole. Sweet. Thanks, Ty. Hey, no problem. Okay, July 30th. I'll look into that, Alex. Thanks for the heads up on that. Again, like, comment, share. For those of you who are watching this after the fact, comment, share the content, and check out all the links provided for you down below in the description box. Don't forget to check out the PayPal and Patreon links as well. Those are provided, and the Hog Talk podcast link is provided for you down there as well to get caught up on all the latest Hog Talk podcast. We'll see you guys on Friday. Whoop.